The first tune of hers ever played on Radio 1 back in October 2023. Your future artist of the month is Alessi Rose with Hate This Part. Alessi, hi!
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's so nice to hear one of those, I guess, like origin tracks of yours. How do you feel about hearing songs like Hate This Part now? Do you remember where you were when you wrote that? Whether it was like physically in the world or where you were personally?
Yeah, I mean, it was just after I moved to London from Derby, and it was very much like a culture shock. I was kind of balancing feeling really homesick with also kind of feeling the best I'd ever felt because I was finally making progress in music. So it was kind of like a very contrary place to be.
Yeah, I bet. It was your second single, right? And we're at a point now where we are about to have a third EP called Voyeur. Let's definitely talk about that in a moment. But do you have any first memories of ever being on a stage? So whether it was a school play or a talent show or doing a big show in front of your family at Christmas time in your jammies?
I mean, I was very much like the performing kid who would stand in front of the whole family and just like sing at them, so kind of holding them hostage in a way. So my parents put me in like every musical theatre club in Derby there was, which is funny because as a kid, I feel like I had a lot of stage fright. I was quite nervous I was very confident, but I would get a lot of stage fright. And it's really funny to see now I feel so comfortable and so myself on a stage. It's kind of nice that all that was kind of missing was like my own music. And it kind of doesn't make sense because I'd be exposing everything in my songs now. I'm like telling them more than everyone needs to know. And I'm like, oh, I feel so liberated. I'm like, but people maybe don't need to know all that, but they do.
It's why we love you though. Honestly, I think it's that kind of raw honesty and you just being candid and knowing that we're getting the real you.
I think my favorite writers, poets, musicians are the ones that kind of say things and you're like, oh, that's exactly how I feel and I've never heard anyone put it that way before. And I think that's something that I've really enjoyed tapping into because it's like there are so many of us that have all been 15, 16, 17-year-old girls and gone through that and not really known how to put those feelings into words. So it's nice when you're able to summarize for a group of people.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see the live reaction in the moment when you're performing at gigs. You can see what your music means to people. Was there anyone particularly supportive in your life growing up that encouraged you to pursue this as a career and made you feel valid in it too?
Yeah, I mean, my parents, like, I always joke that no one in my family has like a musical bone. There's like no other musicians, but I was just so desperate. And so, I mean, I loved Lorde, I loved Lana Del Rey, I loved all these people growing up, Kate Bush. And my parents played great music to me. So I feel like I had a good kind of understanding of, but no idea how to actually get there. So they were very encouraging of me to be bold and be pushy and put myself out there and not be worried about, because like, what can you actually lose by just kind of trying, you know?
You did name drop a couple of female songwriters there, Kate Bush, Lorde, for example. What is it particularly about these artists that made you want to do what they're doing?
I think it was just the ability to put into words things that hadn't really been put into words before. I think Kate Bush, I mean, those huge pop songs, it's just like, to me, it was like hearing poetry to pop music. And I think the way I kind of started writing was through poetry. It wasn't with music. I did like music and I did poetry. And it was only when I started to combine them that I was like, oh wait, this is something that I desperately want to continue doing for the rest of my life. And I think Lorde's portrayal of like growing up and feeling isolated in a small town like spoke to me so much because I was like in Derby as like a 15-year-old writing songs, like wanting to get out so desperately. And I think her music was liberating in that sense.
Why don't we spin her now then? An artist that inspires Alessi Rose, our future artist of the month, Lorde with What Was That? An artist that inspires Alessi Rose, your future artist of the month, Lorde with What Was That? And we're welcoming in now a new renaissance of Alessi. EP number 3, Voyeur. This feels like a really big moment.
It feels like I have finally tapped into the thing that feels so inherently me. I think after having 2 EPs of experience to now be able to go into a session and kind of say, this is exactly what I want to do, this is exactly what I want to sound like. And I feel like Voyeur feels like it's all of my desires in one, and it has the highs and the lows. None of us feel happy or sad all the time, and I like the fact that it has that variation in it. But yeah, I'm really proud of it.
Looking back at your journey so far, was there a point where you felt seen or understood, artistry? Like, do you know what? This is all working out. People are getting this.
I think when I first started doing shows, and I think it's really kind of terrifying to think that a year ago-ish was my first ever show, which was like St Pancras Old Church.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Which is
a
ridiculous.
year. Yeah.
A year. And now it's like we're doing Kentish Town at the end of the year, and I'm like, I don't know where the time has gone, but it feels insane. But the people who come to my shows are incredible, and they really give everything at every single moment from start to end, which I don't know how they have that perseverance, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Yeah, you do have some of the best fans in the world, I will say
Truly.
that. This Voyeur tour is the biggest of yours yet. You've had to add in dates because of high demand. It's just a little thing. And we're now looking in the present moment. You're supporting Dua Lipa on her Radical Optimism tour. I mean, this is wild. Have you been able to chat much to Dua and share notes on how to put your best foot forward in a live environment?
It's been lovely to speak to her because I am such a fan. I mean, I've watched it a ridiculous amount of times now, because every time I'm just going to wander on downstairs and watch it. I need to see Training Season again. It's incredible. And you can clearly tell how passionate she is and how hardworking she is, because the show is tight, and it's made me feel so happy that pop music is being taken seriously as it should be, because it is an art to get right. And Dua Lipa absolutely does get it right in every sense. So I'm having a really fun time.
Oh, I'm so pleased to hear it. Have you been performing any of the tunes from Voyeur at all on tour with her?
Yeah, so we've been doing Same Mouth every night, and it always gets a cheer when I'm like, guys, you're one of the first to hear it live. This is a fun one. Same Mouth is really funny because I feel like it was like an angry song. It was kind of like pointing out the hypocrisy of like a casual relationship where it's like, okay, you don't want anything, why do you keep kissing me? Like, just stop. So I think it's quite funny, being so exposed on an arena stage and kind of like tapping into that, because it's such a relatable feeling and so many people are going through it. But there's another song on Voyeur called Stella that I've been playing on my tour, which is a really fun one.
Okay, so we haven't heard Stella yet. It's not out. Who is Stella? Can you tell us?
Stella was someone that I was friends with, and girls have friendship breakups, and it's rough. Honestly, it's kind of worse than relationship breakups. And I guess it's kind of funny being like 22 and falling out with friends. It feels like you shouldn't really do that anymore, but it does happen. And I think it's kind of nice to have this kind of like raw, like we could have been friends and I thought we would be, but I guess we won't be, like kind of thing going on. But no, it's a really fun one to perform.
Well, do you know what, Alessi, thank you so much for your company. I hope the rest of the Dua tour goes well, and all the best with the EP. Oh my goodness, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to hear this in its entirety, every single track that you'll give us. Thank you so much, Alessi.
Thanks for having me.
The absolute angel herself, your future artist of the month, Alessi Rose, her latest single, Same Mouth, on Radio 1.
You were my ghost.